Hey Brian, my name is Liam. My YouTube handle is Diogenes of the Internet, and I'm a fellow Roman Catholic. Christ tells us if we have a disagreement with a brother, then to go directly to them. And, I'm pretty much anonymous on YouTube, so this counts as direct, I think. Uh, with your two videos, a question that Protestants can't answer, and then the response to Dr. Ortland's response to yours, um, I just got to say, you're off base. Um, so, for one, the timing of the Protestant Reformation cannot be isolated or reduced to October 31st, 1517, when Martin Luther nailed the 95 Theses to the door. And All Saints Church. So for instance, you have the Hussites about a century earlier, and then, I don't know, half a century maybe earlier than Martin Luther. You have William Tyndale. He's doing a novel translation of the Bible into English, such as it was in his day. And he explicitly and very intentionally tried to translate it in such a way that it would undermine the magisterial authority of the church. So we can't pin everything on Luther. Luther was very much a key person, but there are a few things that we should acknowledge. One is he was very scrupulous. Two, he taught things that are clearly untrue and that Lutherans, no matter how gung ho they are, would agree with us are untrue. For instance, he seems to have been anti Semitic. And I don't mean that in the way that, like, oh, Martin Luther believed in, the anthropology of his day as it was understood. And he thought that, there was a sort of zeitgeist to each race. Or no, none of that. I mean, like, he wrote polemics against Jews, blaming them for a variety of things that more to the tune of the later Russian anti-Semitism that we see thanks to the Tsar. Okay, so with that said, they're not going to look at Martin Luther like a church father, nor are they going to look at him as, like, say, an authority that was giving some infallible interpretation of Scripture. They're not going to look at him like that. So I grew up Lutheran, and that was one of the jokes, the insults, was that if somebody was getting too into theology, we'd say that they're worshiping Saint Luther. And obviously, we don't worship saints, but that's what we thought when I was Lutheran. Okay. And secondly, you're being super uncharitable in your definitions. Um, so yes, sola fide um, is opposed to both sola scriptura and sola gratia. We get that, but we also want to give them steelman arguments. Simply saying that they have nothing to do is kind of like how they say that we think we can earn our own salvation apart from God, like the Pelagians said. It's just a mischaracterization of that belief system. So they would say, well, no, I mean, like, you can't work your way into heaven, so you can't, like, feed X number of homeless people, and then that's enough to get into heaven. There's going to be no metric like that, and we would agree with that. Um, and so when you say, like, well, what about, you have to say the sinner's prayer and get baptized? It seems like that violates your none of your works can get to heaven, because those are things that you do. And they would probably respond. I don't want to put words in their mouth, but they would probably respond by saying that God stirs the heart. Uh, and we agree again. Um, and they would probably disagree with the vocabulary that we use when we say we cooperate with grace, but they effectively agree with the concept. Um, and then at least mainline traditional uh, Christians accepting the Baptist and those from the Zwingli branch of the Protestant Reformation. Most of them, I think, still keep to adult baptism, and they may have to struggle with that one a little bit more. But your mainline, like Lutheran and Calvin and stuff like that. So Calvin definitely, my understanding is that he had different opinions at different times and or contradictory opinions depending on what specific question he was asked as to whether or not free will exists in any way, shape, or form. Um, Now, Calvin is the one that said that we are totally depraved, um, meaning that we're incapable of doing anything good. And therefore, anything good that happens through us, like feeding X number of homeless people, is because God's working through us. The Lutheran would not hold this. Not, I don't think I don't think many mainline Protestants would. Just the Reformed tradition, and they would say that you can do good works. Um, so after you're a Christian, you've been baptized, made a profession of faith, however it works. You can do good works because God empowers you to do so, um, and that it's there's a band called Five Iron Frenzy. They have a song called Dandelions, and it compares doing good works to a little child giving his mother dandelions. The dandelions are completely worthless. They're nothing anyone desires. They have no value in and of themselves, but the fact that they're a gift makes them the most valuable and most treasured flowers that a mother can receive. And that, I think, would more approximate their actual belief on faith and works. And the reason I'm saying this, not to try to beat you up, but um, because especially when we are very, very sure of our own opinions, such as the Catholic Church is true, it's really, really easy to mischaracterize other opinions, even other opinions that we held. Um, and you know, you got like something like 100,000 followers. So I would encourage you to either recant or whatever your policy is. But I'm sorry, man, you're off base on this one.